Who does that? Who wants to control your consciousness? Who? And it's not enough. It says it's not enough for fascism. It needs to possess the private conscience of all its citizens. It demands the conversions. Not just in Italians, but everybody. This system demands the conversion of all people. And it wants your private conscience. That's sick.
Makes the same claims as a religion. It does not promise happiness to those who do not convert. In pursuit of this totalitarian religious transformation, various proselytizing methods are used. Two of these are demagogy and pedagogy, the former being the spreading of state propaganda through art, literature, music, plays, and festivals, and the latter being the ideological indoctrination of the youth via compulsory schooling. The strategy of terror and love is another technique used to proselytize the masses into the totalitarian religion. Citizens are subjected to terror via ongoing wars, continual fear-mongering, false flags, and the ever-present threat of loss of livelihood, property, imprisonment, or death. Yet these displays of terror are interspersed with displays of love. Ceremonial rituals are held to honor the goodwill of the leaders, and continuous propaganda assures the citizens that the regime cares for them and is working hard to keep them safe from the dangers of the world. And as Alexander Stein explains in her book, Terror, Love, and Brainwashing, as in the Stockholm Syndrome, thus does the abuser become the perceived safe haven, a person or an entity to whom one can turn for help, mercy, forgiveness, comfort. This alternation of terror and love triggers free-floating anxiety, confusion, and creates a trauma bond between the citizen and the state. A bond.
So, okay, basically, the elites have done a Stockholm Syndrome and put basically a mass spell over its citizens of Babylon, aka America, because they have tortured you, well, us, black people, the 12 tribes of Israel, and everybody else, beat you into basically accepting this way of life. And then it's a form of torture. They torture you into loving them. And now you've been brainwashed to know, well, you love your abuser. So now you don't want to go nowhere because you think this is all that life is now. You don't know nothing else. All you know is from the moment you was born till now that this place has abused you, gave you anxiety, tortured you, and then now it gives you little bits, little crumbling droplets of love, fake, I care about you. And then it goes back to abuse and torture, and then a little bit of love, fake love, and then back to abuse and torture. So it's a trauma bonding. It's kind of like being with a narcissist, which happened to me. Esau is a narcissist. He's the most high-level narcissist that you will ever meet in your entire life because he's a demon. He is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And he has trauma bonded and Stockholm Syndrome the hell out of America and its citizens, including other nations, into accepting this demonic way of life, loving it, creating a problem, order out of chaos. They did this. Everybody has been traumatized, brainwashed to believe that this place is love when it's really hate. Let's go.
One that lies at the basis of all cults. Stein explains further. The alternation of love and fear within an isolating environment results in a dissociated, loyal, and deployable follower who can now be instructed to act in the interests of the leader rather than in his or her own survival interests. Processes of brainwashing rest on the creation of stress or threat with no escape, other than compliance to the apparent safe haven of the totalitarian regime and group. Persistent fear-mongering, in conjunction with promises that compliance to the regime will bring the citizens salvation, creates true believers who will do whatever the regime commands, even if these commands require them to disown friends and family, face economic ruin, spend time in prison, or even go to an early grave. As one example, Nikolai Valenchik, a man loyal to the Soviet regime, was forced to spend 17 years in the hard labor gulags for a crime he did not commit. Yet upon being released, he did not condemn the Stalinist regime. Instead, he stated, "We believed in the party, and we were not mistaken." Other reports tell of political officials and party followers who cried out, "Long live Stalin," as they were being taken out to be shot by the Soviet secret police. As further evidence for the mass religious conversion that takes place under totalitarianism, Hannah Arendt explained, "The amazing fact is that the totalitarian true believer is unlikely to waver in his loyalty when the monster begins to devour its own children, and not even if he becomes a victim of persecution himself. If he is framed and condemned, if he is purged from the party and sent to a forced labor or a concentration camp, on the contrary, to the wonder of the whole civilized world, he may even be willing to help in his own prosecution and frame his own death sentence, if only his status as a member of the movement is not touched."
Crazy.
Totalitarianism is a religion that never achieves what it promises. It creates a hell on earth in which many are sacrificed to the god of the state, but none are delivered into the brave new world they were promised.
So basically, totalitarianism is a gigantic Ponzi scheme, aka a pyramid scheme. America is a pyramid scheme. America's a giant Ponzi scheme. America's a corporation. If every business closed right now, America would go bankrupt. If all these people left and went back to their known countries, America would go bankrupt. Because the only people that's going to be sitting here is the niggas.